Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in this video, we're talking all about design details that will fix even an ugly house. But before we get into it, there's an exciting announcement I have been teasing you all with, and that is that consultations are now available. You can book a one-on-one consultation with me to answer all of your design and decorating questions using the link in the description box down below or going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. I look forward to meeting with as many of you virtually as possible. The first design detail I absolutely love and I think elevates any home is a threshold or a flooring transition. These are typically found in doorways from room to room and transition one type of flooring to another or one pattern of flooring to another. These I think are amazing and add a classical detail to any home, whether it's a modern home or a traditional one. You often see these in homes that have different patterns of flooring from room to room. That may be chevron in the hallway and a square design in this bedroom or whatever, and it transitions one style from another. Typically is made out of the same material as the flooring itself, and it just changes the direction. It runs from side to side in a doorway. I think these are great, and you can also use these when you're switching the material of flooring. So if you're going from a wood flooring in the hallway to a tile in the bathroom, you can add a threshold into that doorway to create a more natural transition. And by natural transition, I mean completely opposite. It totally stands out, and that's exactly what you want because you're changing materials or patterns. It takes a little bit of craftsmanship, a little bit more time, but doesn't actually have a significant cost when you consider the fact that it's just a little piece of flooring that runs between two sides of a doorway. I think these are really great and something to consider when you're changing out your flooring. It's not something that will be easy to add after the fact because it is recessed or flushed in with your flooring and typically finished with the same material. So when you're in the position where you're changing out flooring, you're switching the tile in the bathroom or upgrading from carpet to wood, that's the time to add this in. Consider it because it can make a space feel so elevated, so luxurious. It's a beautiful feature in design detail, but it's not something that is incredibly expensive to do. Now, flooring transitions are also good if the height of flooring changes. Of course, I always want flooring in a home to be flush as it can pose a tripping hazard. Let's talk about a design detail that you won't see probably at all, but you will feel. That makes the world of difference, and that is a solid core door. One of my favorite memories of all time is going to my favorite hotel and the weight of the doors. It says quality, it feels substantial. As a matter of fact, when I think about it, those doors were very heavy, and I'm not a weak person, okay? I could pick up a bulldog. And that's saying a lot. So those doors feeling very heavy to me is like a real statement of quality. And having that in your home definitely feels that way. The interaction you have with that door, with all of the things in your home, the things you touch, you want to be good quality. So having a solid core door makes the world of difference. Not only does it provide a little bit of sound insulation or cancellation, but it also has that quality feeling of an older home that you sometimes miss on new builds. Yes, solid core doors are a little bit more expensive. If you're building a new house, you could always specify with your builder that you want solid core doors and maybe an upgrade you could purchase, and I think that's worthwhile. And if you're adding them after the fact, you want to be very careful, have a professional out to change the doors for you because sometimes they don't always fit right in the jambs, and it might actually be cheaper for you just to replace all of the doors and the jambs instead of just the actual door itself, but that's something you're gonna have to price out and consider. I love a solid core door. Now, probably the #1 door maker in the industry right now is Masonite. It's like a composite material. This is perfect. It's great, wonderful to use because not everybody can have a solid wood door, and you typically find those that are older, antique doors, or doors that came out of homes that have been demolished now. So be on the lookout for those. But like I said, Masonite is a great material. If you can find a solid core door that fits your space and matches the other doors in your house, I say go for it because it really has that quality, substantial feeling. Typically, exterior doors or the door that goes into your garage or your front door will be a solid core door, and you immediately feel how heavy sturdy they are, and that's what you're after for the interior doors in your house. Now, of course, an exterior door has a different insulation rating than an interior door, so they're going to be much more substantial and heavier, but that feeling in your home will definitely make it feel more luxurious and elevated and expensive. And to go on top of that, or like to extend on that point, is that insulating the walls in your house also makes a big difference for the noise. If you have different zones of air conditioning, it makes a big difference. And I definitely recommend you consider that if the walls are open, if you're building a new home, because adding that after the fact is an expensive, a difficult and messy job, but it's something worth considering if you're in the situation where your walls are open. One design detail that we love to see and we're very much into right now, and I hope stays around for a very long time, are natural materials. Having a reference back to nature immediately creates a sense of timelessness and a warmth in a space that feels very welcoming, inviting, and will always be classic, be on trend, or be timeless. You won't have to worry about something being dated. And that can be a lot of different things. Maybe it's wood flooring, but wood flooring might not be for you. You may not be able to justify the cost, or it might just not be the right material for where you live or your lifestyle, so you opt for something different. Absolutely fine, totally acceptable, and I think it's great you're making those thoughtful decisions. Natural material can be a stone countertop or a stone backsplash, maybe stone tile. You can do those sorts of things, and you can even mix them in with ceramic tiles to maybe save a little bit on that budget and get that natural material. I saw a beautiful space that has a great stone fireplace. This looks wonderful. That's a beautiful natural material to have. It stands out, it pops, and the space is light and fresh around it, so it feels really timeless. Maybe that stone is not what we're doing today, and maybe it's a little dated, but it still feels very classic, and that can be a really wonderful feature or benefit you get out of using natural materials. I love a natural material, but what I love more is our GarrettLeChic family. So be sure, if you haven't joined us already, you take a moment and hit that subscribe button, and we would love it if you'd also give this video a like. Another design detail that I love to see in a home, but I feel gets overlooked, is tile at a 45-degree angle. Or a lot of people will say like on a diamond shape, but like that's not a diamond, it's just at a 45-degree angle. We're not talking about that. Anyway, I love tile at a 45-degree angle because it takes the grid-like effect out of the tile. You can use any size tile and do this. Of course, I like to see it in like a 9x9, kind of the minimum I think is good for flooring upwards, and you can do it at a 45-degree angle, and it blurs the effect of all of those grout lines on the floor, eliminating that grid-like effect. It also gives you a more elegant or timeless, elevated, upgraded feeling in your home, no matter what the style is, because you don't have those grids. It takes a little bit more work. It's a little bit more expensive, but can make such a big difference. Now, I would not necessarily recommend a 45-degree angle tile for like tile on a wall or a backsplash. You can certainly do that, but if you have it on your floor and on a wall where it's meeting, it can look a little bit out of line. So I would consider where those lines are meeting up and how they work together. While you're doing this, consider adding those thresholds and maybe a border into the space. At the end of the day, using that tile at a 45-degree angle is a great way to take those grid lines out of the space to immediately make it look more expensive and more designer. We've talked about some flooring details. We've talked about some ideas for your entire home and feelings of quality. Let's talk about something very specific, and that's in your kitchen. One of my favorite features in design right now that I am seeing, maybe it's a trend, I think it's timeless, I don't care if it's a trend, I want it in my home and I want it in yours too, is a hearth hood in a kitchen. I adore these. I think they're beautiful, and they create such a presence, such a sense of scale in a kitchen that is just magnificent, is wonderful. I think they look so great. The reason for this is the scale. They're big, they're bulky, they're oversized, and that creates a focal point in a kitchen. We're there to cook. We're not there to, paint our nails. We're not there to comb our hair. We're not there to, pet the dog or brush it or whatever. Like, we're there to cook. We're there to cook. We're making food. We're eating. That's what it's for. The oven is the hero piece, the center. And to have such a grand statement there is so impressive. I think this is wonderful because you can actually add this to basically any kitchen and really elevate how it looks, the aesthetics, the overall feeling of it. You can rework existing cabinetry to fit this in. You could take down all your cabinetry and just have a vent hood. You could do shelves, which we kind of have a back and forth feeling with, and that's okay, but you can do such impressive things with one of these hearth hoods. You don't have to go over the top with this. You could do something that's really minimal and sleek and chic. You could do something that's really ornate and has wood paneling and detail and is highly carved. I've actually seen people make these out of antique headboards from, beds that are maybe missing the rails or the footboard, or there's a part that's broken and they can be upcycled and turned into something really beautiful. That's something great to consider as well. You can do so much with these and build in storage too. I've seen people that do spice racks on the sides and all of those really wonderful features. This is great for also channeling all of the cooking, scent, smoke, grease, whatever, straight up into the vent hood and getting it out. It's oversized, which is wonderful, and having an oversized vent hood means not only do you get more of that kind of suction of air out of the kitchen, but it creates such a grand sense of scale. I love a hearth hood in a kitchen. I think they're so beautiful, and I love them. I want that in my house. Okay, my husband needs to watch this so he knows what the tea is, and we're gonna get one. And that's that. Okay, my husband's behind the camera. He says he loves the crest. It has to have a crest, so it looks like a real fireplace. I think that's wonderful. We're gonna do it carved out of stone. It's official. Love that for us. This can be something great to replace that microwave over the vent hood with. Yes, it is a little bit of an expense, and it would be, expensive to do this, but it would make a really big impact. If you were gonna make one change in your kitchen, I think this would be a really great one to make. And it may not work in a smaller kitchen, a really tiny, compact kitchen, and that's okay. But you can incorporate some of the other features of this video into there and really make something impactful and elevated. You also, of course, want to work with a contractor and have them out to really tell you what's possible and if this is doable in your home. Let's talk about the one thing, the universal fix for every ugly house, and that's a fresh coat of paint. Do not underestimate just what a simple coat of paint can do. It can make wonderful things happen. It can completely renovate a house without, doing much work at all. Obviously, if you have it professionally done, you wouldn't have to lift a finger, and I recommend you do that for the best quality finish. And what a lot of people don't realize about paint is that the pigments in that paint actually can fade, and they can fade really quickly if you're using a lower quality paint, or if you chose a really vibrant color that's very easy to happen, whether that's through UV exposure or just, being on the wall and having a lower quality pigment. They can sometimes darken or lighten and get kind of faded. We've all been in that situation where you've had a can of paint in the garage for like 2 years and you go to touch up a little spot and it doesn't match at all. It looks like a completely different color. It's like, why is that so much brighter than the wall? This is literally the same exact paint. That's because the paint on your wall has faded, and using a fresh coat of paint can really revitalize the color if you're starting to notice a little bit of that fading. And a lot of homes, it's just like the paint has been messed up, it's so heavily marked and damaged that a fresh coat really makes a difference. And a fresh coat of paint can also help eliminate any odors this space has that are kind of trapped in the walls, and that's really wonderful as well. You can take a dated space that maybe needs a little bit of a renovation, maybe it's got some dated features that, hey, we're just not really into, and put a fresh coat of paint on it, and it can completely change the house. I can't tell you the number of homes I see that it's like nobody wants to buy them because they're painted all of these crazy colors and everyone's like, ugh, gosh, that house looks terrible. And all it really needs is a coat of paint, and it could be something spectacular. Now, these design details are going to make your home beautiful, but be sure you avoid these 7 trends that we were tricked into. We thought they were gonna be timeless, and they definitely were not. Be sure you check out this video right over here, and I will see you over there.